the years of Democrat failure. It's time for a new future. That's why I'm running for governor, to make this beautiful state that we love so much truly golden again.
There he is, the man trying to turn the Golden State red, Republican gubernatorial candidate Steve Hilton, and he joins me right now. So let's bring him on. Good to have you here. Thank you so much for coming on. You are running in California. You got Gavin Newsom there right now, and he has not been very well liked in that state. What makes you a good candidate here to become the next governor of California?
Well, John, it's wonderful to be with you this morning. I think the thing that people have to really imagine is the sense in California that after 15 long years of this one-party rule, there's a sense that, well, this is just the way it is, and it's always going to be like this. And I'm here to say, no, it doesn't have to be this way. We don't have to be a state where we have the highest rate of poverty in America, and 1/3 of people here in California can't meet their basic needs for food and shelter and housing and gas and electricity, where the typical house price is nearly $1 million, where under half of the kids in the public schools meet state standards in English, and for math it's 1/3. It doesn't have to be like this. We can change. We can be better. And that's what I'm here to do, to give that energy and that optimism and the clarity on policy so we can turn things around, because everyone knows it's time for change in California. We just need a candidate of change who really delivers that message in a powerful way, and that's my plan in this campaign.
Let me ask you this. Arnold Schwarzenegger was the last Republican governor there. What do you think has changed since his time in office to now Gavin Newsom? What's changed, and why is it so bad now?
Well, what you've had with this one-party rule from the Democrats is a terrible combination of really bad ideas, ideological extremism on everything from climate change and the climate extremism that has pushed up costs for everything, the gender extremism, everything, the unions running everything. That's why the schools are so bad, the teacher unions completely controlling everything there. So you've had a combination of really bad ideas, but also incredibly incompetent governance. And you saw that come together, actually, with the Los Angeles wildfires, where one of the reasons that those fires were so bad was because of the climate extremism that meant for years you hadn't cleared the brush and managed those areas properly, but also the total incompetence from leadership, from Gavin Newsom down, Karen Bass, and so on. And I think it's that combination of ideology and incompetence that has caused the problems.
And you got Gavin Newsom right now. I mean, it's the secret everybody knows. He wants to run for president. So he's out there. He's got this podcast now where he's trying to relate to conservatives somehow. Here, I want to play a soundbite of that, and then I'll get your reaction on the other side. All right, well, let's just get your reaction to it. I mean, this guy is supposed to be running the state of California, yet he's spending more time trying to run a podcast. Are his priorities just not in order?
Well, 100%. I mean, it's a total joke. As you say, he goes on these podcasts and he tries to kind of pander to the people, whether he's on their podcast or they're on his. For example, with Charlie Kirk, he said, "Oh, yes, I agree with you, Charlie. It is," this is the quote, "deeply unfair for biological men to compete in girls' sports." Just a couple of weeks after he said that, he had an opportunity to actually do something about it, because he has an actual job as the actual governor. There was legislation in the state legislature to deal with the problem that he just said was deeply unfair. Right. What did he do? Absolutely nothing. And that's the problem. We've got a governor who is just not in charge of dealing with the actual problems that people have, because he's not interested in that. And that's why we've got to get back to common sense, positive, practical policies. And that's really the heart of my campaign. It's not exactly partisan, because everyone can see we've got to cut taxes for working people, get rid of the insane bureaucracy that makes it impossible to build a home, run a business, do anything in California, real standards of academic performance in our schools. Those are practical things that everyone can agree about.
How difficult? I mean, there are a lot of liberals that live in California. How difficult do you think it is going to be to flip that state? Maybe not for a presidential election, but to flip it for a governor's race.
So, John, you're right. I'm not saying this is going to be easy, But there are encouraging signs. One of the reasons that I launched my campaign this week in Huntington Beach in Orange County is that city, just over 4 years ago, was run by Democrats, 6-1. Today, it's 7-0 Republican-led, and in the last 2 weeks, it was rated the best-run city in California. In the elections last November, President Trump got more votes in California than any Republican candidate for a generation. 10 counties flipped from blue to red. So the signs are there that change is coming. And what we've now got to do is really accelerate that and be out there with a positive vision that people can get behind. That's why I'm running, and that's why I want everyone to support me, wherever you live. Go to stevehiltonforgovernor.com. Let's get involved in this movement for change.
One thing, too, we saw in Pennsylvania, Scott Pressler out there door knocking, going, and he got a lot of Republicans that are Republicans just registered to vote. Is that something you got to do in California as well? Are there a lot of Republicans maybe that aren't registered, or have you got to do a lot of the groundwork?
100%. That is actually the key to it, a grassroots campaign. In fact, this week I was in Fresno and announced the goal of our campaign to knock on at least 1 million doors between now and the first election, the primary in June 2026, because that's the only way we're going to do it. A real grassroots movement, people talking to their friends and their neighbors and their co-workers about the fact that change really is possible in California if we just go for it. That's why I want so many people. I know politicians always come on and ask for money. What I'd really love is people's time to volunteer and get involved in our movement.
All right. Very well said. Good luck to you. We'll be watching to see what happens. We appreciate you coming on, Steve Hilton. Thank you so much.
Great to be with you. Thank you.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.